What's up, everyone? This is Kronos, aka Adam, back with another WWE Week In review. It was actually a really good week of television. As always, you can find me on my social media there. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, anything else. If you hear the pitter patter of little feet, Adriana's right here at my side, so sorry about that. Like I said, there was a lot of really good stuff this week. Also, I did my AEW review last week. I'll put a link in the description or at the end. I'm still learning how to figure out how to do all this stuff. I did my AEW weekend review. As always, I review Raw, NXT, Smackdown, give my match of the week, some thoughts. And yes, we're going to jump right into it. As always, got to go to my notes. And so we start off with Raw on the 25th of May. Hey, puppy. Okay. So the first thing we see are, this is actually the first week of Plastic Borders, and the NXT talent are surrounding the ring. So they have now taken the AEW model of allowing, fans at ringside. These are NXT trainees and some actual NXT talent. I know Shotzi Blackheart, Jessamine Duke, Maria Shafir were there, among some others. They were, which I think added a lot. The Plastic Borders are a little. I'm not sure about that because it does kind of hamstring what goes on in the ring, although it does keep the action in the ring. So I'm all right with it, especially because we actually hear people now, and it gives a little more atmosphere, a little more life to the performances and to the show. So I do enjoy that. It is about time that they finally did it. So they said that all people have been tested. We've heard rumors that people weren't being tested, so, I assume they wouldn't be lying about that, so maybe they changed it. Sorry, just gotta fix this a little bit. There we go. I assume they are testing because that would be pretty messed up to say that they are and they weren't testing. So we start off with the KO show. He addresses the crowd, saying some of them are the future. He actually says he'll have a match with Angel Garza later on that night. So there's going to be a triple threat women's match for the number one contender to Asuka's title. All three contestants go into the ring, but Asuka does come out first. Charlotte's out next. She says the Raw Championship should be hers because she's beaten Asuka all the time. Natalya comes out next. KO gets rid of whatever was remaining in the ring, obviously from last week's temper tantrum. Natalya apologizes for that. Something just fell on my AC. Nia's out last. KO says he knows how this is going to go and gets out of the ring. Nia says, you're right. Nia starts talking trash. KO says, whatever you do, Asuka, don't punch her in the face. Next thing you know, fight breaks out. Asuka stands tall. We then get Apollo Crews backstage saying that for his match against Andrade for the U.S. title, says he's mentally and physically ready and this is the biggest night of his life. So we then get that match, Andrade versus Apollo Crews for the U.S. title. Apollo comes out super aggressive. Obviously, he's frustrated and is reminded of what happened last time and why his injury took him out of Money in the Bank. Excuse me. We then get Angel Garza watching backstage on a television set. So Apollo hits a standing suplex for a 1 count. Andrade hits his back elbow for a 2 count. Goes for the hammerlock DDT, but it gets back body dropped. Military press, and then there's a military press, and while he's about to do it, Zelina gets on the apron. Apollo hits an enziguri on Andrade and Andrade ends up bumping into Zelina, who goes down. During the commercial picture-in-picture, we see the trainers coming out and tending to Zelina. She says that she wants Andrade to go to the ring. Andrade gets super aggressive at that point. Apollo gets caught in the corner. Andrade does the double stomp for a 2 count. We then get this really creepy, completely unnecessary interview for Angel Garza while the match is going on in the background. He talks about the match is like making love to a woman. It was really dumb. It really made no sense. It was unnecessary. It was just really cringy too. So then back to the ring, we have a double knees by Andrade that he misses. There's a belly-to-belly in the corner by Apollo. That's actually during the interview, so we see that. So we see a toss powerbomb counter into Rana by Andrade. Then he does his double knees for a 2 count. So then eventually Apollo gets a military press, does a standing moonsault, does a standing shooting star press for the win. So Apollo Crews is now your new U.S. title. Kind of came out of nowhere, but it was a really good match. I was really happy about it because I do think Apollo deserved it. I love Andrade, but I feel like they haven't done enough with him as the U.S. champion. I feel like this is, switching it up a little bit to someone who truly deserves it. He's been working hard. And Apollo, I think, is going to be a champion. I mean, they could end up hot potatoing it right back to Andrade, with some shenanigans or something. This camera is really bothering me. I don't know why. There we go. Sorry. So then we get a post-match in-ring interview. It seemed really genuine, seemed really, happy for everything he'd accomplished, saying that it was so long for him to get there. Everyone told him no. But, of course, WWE can't let him have the whole spotlight because while that's going on, they keep cutting back to Andrade, who's having a temper tantrum in the back, destroying everything. It's kind of ridiculous. But, I mean, obviously, that just means that this feud is going to keep going. We then get Street Profits and Viking Raiders are going to be, in their Anything You Could Do, I Could Do Better series, which needs to end already. They're going to be doing golf. Okay. We then get a shot of Seth holding Ray's mask. He does a backstage promo saying that he's better than ever thanks to Ray. He was chosen to be sacrificed. Ray was chosen to be sacrificed, and Seth did his duty. He mentions Dominic. If it was Ray's final act, it was a courageous one. And then Theory and Murphy come into frame. They're both wearing kind of like black and white now. Murphy says he needed guidance, a mentor, a leader, and he thanks Seth for it. Theory says that he thought he had friends, but he was quickly abandoned by them, and that Seth took him in. And we find out that Theory and Murphy will take on Humberto and Alistair later on. We then get a backstage interview with Charlotte. She should be a double champ. She wants to be a double champ. Does her usual bona fides, puts herself over. Asuka then, dances into frame, singing, humming or whatever, saying that red is not your color, and then dances off. Asuka's the best. I mean, that's just plain and simple. She's hysterical. We get the Iconics coming to the ring next. Billy looks mad at Peyton, based on what happened last week and when Billy slapped Peyton because Peyton, got them disqualified. They actually both apologize to each other. They talk about their history together, how they've known each other for so long. They should still be the champs, but the crazy lady and the office's favorite blonde, they shouldn't have the titles. So obviously that, gets Bliss and Cross to come out. The Iconics have had so many opportunities, but they've blown them all. They try to cut off Cross. Cross then goes off screaming about, what she had to do to get there. It's very genuine as well. Really good, great promo. Then a brawl breaks out, obviously between the two teams. The Iconics do their finisher, kind of like a reverse magic killer. They stand tall with the belts, so obviously their feud isn't over. We get a shot of MVP checking his phone. Lana comes into frame, says they need to talk. MVP says, no we don't, and then just walks off, and Lana is obviously very pissed off about this. We then get the VIP lounge segment in the ring with Drew McIntyre. Apparently MVP is going to pay all the tabs for the NXT people in the audience. So Drew is going to be the he says Drew is going to be the former champ or soon to be former champ. Drew comes in, destroys the set, saying, okay, where's Bobby? I know he's going to come at me. Where is he? MVP says there's going to be no ambush. Says no contract, no contact. Apparently that was something he said back in the day when he was a full-time wrestler. Says he's saving it for Backlash. MVP reminds Drew of the VIP lounge after the Rumble where he Claymore kicked him. He says it's just a Claymore. You don't have to call it a kick. He says Claymore kicked anyway. So he says right then he knew two things. One, that Drew would win and become the new champ. And two, when Drew lost it, he was going to have a hand in it. So Lashley needed 13 years. Drew says he needed 19 years to get his first shot. Drew says he doesn't need anyone thinking, talking, or kissing his ass for him. Obviously, Bobby Lashley comes out. While MVP is turned, Drew Claymore kicks him. He goes down, then goes up the ramp with Lashley. We then get a backstage interview with Natalya. Right before the interview starts, or while it starts, she gets a call from TJ, her husband. And sounds like she's catching shit from him for apologizing for the apology. It sounds ridiculous. It's really awkward. You could tell it's a one-sided conversation where she's trying to have both parts. It was a completely fake conversation. Just didn't make any sense. And when she's finally done with the conversation, I believe it was Charlie, says, oh, sorry, we're out of time. I don't know what they're doing with this. It's really weird. We then get Kevin Owens versus Angel Garza. So as KO starts to come out, Garza chop blocks him on the ramp. Obviously, Garza continues to go after the knee. KO hits a DDT to get some time to recoup. He wasn't able to get the cover because he was still nursing the injury. He goes for a running cannonball, but he can't run. Garza hits him with a super kick for a 2 count. KO with a senton from the top rope, but he can't go over for the cover because he's too hurt. Goes up for the pop-up powerbomb, but it's countered into a wing clipper by Garza, and Garza gets the clean win here. I mean, obviously he did the shenanigans in the beginning, but I mean there was no, there was no real in-ring cheating. So yeah, it was a clean win for Angel Garza, which is huge for him. I'm not obviously this thing between Garza, Andrade, and KO, and mix in interchange. It's not over yet, so we'll see how it goes. I love Angel Garza. I think he's great. I think they had him, and then they kind of are giving him this creepy sex fiend predator gimmick. I don't think it's necessary. I think, yeah, he can be a heartthrob. I mean, even though it's so weird because, we've obviously saw him propose to his girlfriend at the time, right after his match when he won the Cruiserweight, or I think it was after he won the Cruiserweight title, but even so this whole thing is very odd. Anyway, so we get a recap of the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders. Everything that's been going on with them. They go to the golf course. The Raiders bring a cooler. Obviously, Street Profits are excited, think they're about to get some drinks, but no, it's meat. Apparently, there's no food on the course, so Ivar starts putting the turkey legs in his bag. So he launches blood. So he kind of shot puts his club. Eric does. Street Profits look like they're good at golf. Obviously, the Raiders look terrible. Both parties end up getting kicked out by the I guess manager of the golf course, saying that they're rude and loud and causing havoc. So they decide to go to a mini golf course instead. Of course, my mouse freezes. There we go. So they go mini golfing. Apparently, we see a montage of stuff, a conga line, they're partying, and then the girl who's working at the golf course does the same thing as the cop, saying that Ivar's cute and Eric isn't. The Raiders don't understand how golf works, apparently, because when they get the score, obviously being very high and the Street Profits being very low, they thought they won, but obviously they found out. So Street Profits are apparently up 2-1 in this, and then Ivar starts pulling things out of the last hole, a wallet, turkey leg. It was just weird. Okay, so then we get Lashley and MVP backstage. Lana brings MVP ice, saying, "Oh, sorry, I know I saw you got kicked in the face." MVP goes off on her saying, "You think this is a joke? Including your husband's career. You think that's a joke?" They need to send a message back to Drew, and they walk off, and Lana just screams again. Same thing. Very stupid, very annoying. We then get Seth backstage kind of pumping up Theory and Murphy for their match, which we then get Theory and Murphy versus Humberto and Alistair. So there's double teaming on Humberto. Humberto dumps both to the outside, tags Alistair Black. He does his fake backflip off the ropes. Humberto dives from the top to the outside on both of them. Theory hits with the Burning Hammer top turnbuckle drop. Humberto gets the hot tag to Alistair again. He does a moonsault on both of them. Humberto wants the tag. Alistair dumped off the top rope. Theory hits his ATL in the confusion on Humberto for the win. They attack Alistair, throw him out into the timekeeper's area. Seth is directing traffic. Alistair comes with a chair, but Seth has them take Humberto's head and put it right by the ring post, as what they did to Ray, and says if you take one step closer, he's going to lose an eye. Alistair drops the chair, kicks it out of the ring, kind of almost like it's a hostage situation. He says don't make him sacrifice the two of them, obviously because Alistair acquiesced to his wishes. They left Humberto alone and walked off. We then get a shot of Edge backstage, and then he cuts a promo saying Orton had him tongue-tied last week, which why he didn't answer if he accepted the greatest wrestling match ever. So stupid. Said he did his research. Orton has wrestled hundreds of matches while he was retired, but he thanks Orton for making him think about things. He just recently watched The Last Ride. Obviously a cheap plug for that. And he saw his own part of it. When is it time to hang up the boots? He starts to get really emotional. Says he's hung with the best, and he starts rattling off names. Everything he said was in the past tense. Said he doesn't know if he still can do that anymore, but he's definitely going to try. We then get Asuka on commentary for the triple threat match. So we get before that match starts. Street Profits and Viking Raiders are talking about the rivalry backstage. Raiders decide the next thing will be they choose bowling. MVP comes out to trash Street Profits. He says they don't respect clowns. MVP challenges them to a tag match tonight. So it's going to be MVP and Lashley versus Street Profits. We then get our triple threat for the number one contender for the Raw Women's title at Backlash. Nia slams Natalie onto Charlotte. Natty and Charlotte double team post Nia. Nia tries to get back in the ring, but Charlotte forearms her back outside. Nia drags Natty out of the ring. Charlotte and Nia tug of war with the hood of the announce table, which was pulled off. They start fighting on the apron. Natty and Charlotte double powerbomb Nia through the table, commentary table. Asuka throws Nia back into the ring. Natty goes for an armbar on Nia, but Nia picks her up with one arm powerbomb. Charlotte hits the moonsault on Nia for 2 count, even though she didn't get all of it. Shocking. Natty with the crossbody from the top on Charlotte. Nia goes for a double Samoan drop, trying to pick them both up, but there's no way because they're kicking, and I just think the weight and the cumbersomeness of both of them together is just not going to work. Charlotte goes after Nia's knee, tries to go in the figure 8. Natty drop kicks Charlotte so that she breaks it up. Then Natty puts the sharpshooter on Charlotte, and then Nia breaks that up. Natty sent to the outside. Charlotte goes to the top, but Nia goes up after her. Natty goes under, and they do that powerbomb suplex combo off the top. Natty goes to covers both of them, 2 counts on each. Charlotte goes for the figure 4 on Natty. Nia leg drops Charlotte, and then Nia hits a Samoan drop on Natty for the win. So Nia will be the winner, going against Asuka at Backlash. Makes sense. At this point, Natty, Natalya, I just don't know what they're doing with her. And they're not booking her strong. They're doing, I don't know, maybe this crisis of confidence storyline with her. But yeah, I don't know. Then we get Drew backstage. Said it wasn't his plan to, claim more MVP, but that's just how it happens. Kayla then tells him about the match with MVP and Lashley versus Street Profits. He says, he thinks he forgot something in the back of the locker room, so because he was ready to leave the arena, but now that he knows that they're there, he's gonna go after him. We get a recap of Gronk winning the 24/7 title at WrestleMania. Recap of Truth, YouTube videos where he's calling them out. We then get a Gronk promo, and it wasn't a bad promo. He had his glasses on, but once he took his glasses off, you could just tell he was reading right off the cue cards. It was so unnatural, didn't look right. Kind of like how I look when I'm reading my my notes, except much worse. I think. So he says that the belt is going to stay with him. I mean, we all know that now that he's decided to go back to football and go back to to be traded to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that he's not going anywhere. So, okay. So then we get a backstage interview with MVP and Lashley. MVP's rocking his Punisher gear. I'm a big fan of him when he's rocking his Marvel stuff, repping Marvel, Disney. He says, why would they challenge Street Profits? And then he just points to Lashley and says that's why. So we get some video question submission video from Ric Flair talking about Orton Edge, and he puts over Orton and he predicts that Orton will win. We then get another one of these Liv Morgan things. I just don't get it. It makes no sense to me. He's talking about her life and all this stuff. I just don't get it. I don't see the point of it. I don't think it's very productive for her character. I think they've already just ruined her character so much that this is not helping. she can be so good and just really frustrating because I really like her. We then get our main event of Street Profits versus Lashley, and I forgot to put my phone on silent. So then we get, we're told that there will be a Rey Mysterio retirement ceremony next week. We then get Lashley overpowering Ford. Lashley with a flatliner for a 2 count. There's double teaming now on Ford. Lashley with the attempted stalling suplex, but Ford is able to get out of it and goes to Dawkins for the double drop kick on Lashley. Ford flips over the ropes, lands on his feet. Lashley takes and throws him into the ring post. Ford still in the opposite corner, getting beat. MVP throws Ford into the ring steps on the outside. Ford finally gets the hot tag to Dawkins. Dawkins pancakes MVP, does his 360 splashes in the corner, and then does a running bulldog. Ford goes after Lashley. They do the cash out, but Lashley breaks up the pin. They did it on MVP. Lashley breaks up the pin and puts Ford in the full Nelson, but he doesn't let go, so he ends up getting DQ'd. Drew finally comes out, hits a Glasgow kiss. They spill outside fighting. The ref asks the NXT trainees to come in to break it up, and as small groups come in, they just keep getting beat up. Lashley spears Drew, and then more come out. They all get beat up. Finally, literally everyone from the crowd and the back, everyone starts coming out, breaking them up, and that is how Raw goes off the air. If I have to put this on silent, putting it on silent now. Amateur hour. So that is Raw. I thought it was a very good Raw. I like the setup of Lashley and Drew. I'm very happy that Apollo Crews won. I do think that as we see throughout the week, that having the NXT trainees out there is really good. All right, so now we go to NXT. Let's make sure we're still recording. Yes, we are. Oh, no, that's not what I wanted. There we go. All right. So we start off right away with our big triple threat match, the Group A final for the Cruiserweight tournament. The winner will face El Hijo del Fantasma for the interim Cruiserweight championship. Drake Maverick, Jake Atlas, and Kushida. So the left arm of Drake is taped from the armbar that he caught last week. Kushida goes for a hoverboard lock on Drake. He's sent to the outside. Atlas does a moonsault on Kushida on the outside, then springboard blockbuster on Drake into the ring for a 2 count. Kushida with the palm strikes on everybody. Kushida with an O'Connor roll, German suplex combination for a 2 count on both guys. There's just striking all around. Everyone just keeps punching each other. Kushida hits a senton from the top corner to the outside on Atlas. A tornado DDT to Drake, back into the ring, then into an armbar. Drake goes for the same type of pin that he did the week previous, but Kushida kicks out. Atlas hits an inverted suplex on Kushida for a 2 count. Atlas is posted, then a corner cutter by Drake. The pin is broken up by Kushida. Handspring elbow countered by Atlas into a German suplex. He tries to do his rainbow DDT, but Kushida pulls him off the pin. Atlas and Kushida fight on the top turnbuckle. Kushida gets the hoverboard on Drake while he's on the turnbuckle. Kushida does top rope flip over on Atlas into the armbar, but while he's got him in the armbar, Drake actually goes on top of Jake Atlas, and the ref counts the 3 count before Jake Atlas taps out, or so we think. So as far as we know, Drake has won. Drake Maverick is won in Group A, will go to the finals against El Hijo del Fantasma for the interim title. He keeps his job, keeps it going. The fairy tale story continues. And then while he's celebrating, Phantasma comes out. They shake hands, in a show of sportsmanship. But they both say that they're going to win. So then we find out at TakeOver in Your House, we're going to have an NXT women's triple threat match with Charlotte, Rhea, and Io. We get a shot backstage of Thatcher and Angle, because Angle is going to be the guest referee for the cage match with Thatcher and Riddle. So we get a shot, overhead shot of the pin from the triple threat match that just took place, and we see actually that Jake Atlas was tapping before Drake Maverick got his pin. Unfortunately, the ref didn't see the tap because Drake was on his arm, kind of shielding it. So we get Johnny Gargano comes out with Candice. They're getting booed. Why is this freezing? Why is my... Sorry, technical difficulties. So they're getting booed when they come out. And he says, they have a company because of the two of them. There are a lot of good hands out there, obviously throwing shade. The opportunities go to those who should go to those who deserve them. He's the face of NXT. He's the first, and now he announces the first ever Johnny Gargano Invitational. So he gets he says the first participant will be, and you can see he's mouthing Adrian Adonis. He's very shocked because Adrian Adonis, I believe, is a WWE Hall of Famer. He then realizes it's Adrian Alanis. He apparently was part of Evolve, as we were told by commentary. Gargano with forearm off the handshake, runs into a super kick. Gargano escape for the win. So Alanis runs into a super kick and the Gargano escape for the win. So that was pretty much it. So then on the screen, Mia and Keith Lee appear mocking the dinner segment with the Garganos. Keith puts his centerpiece on the table. Mia says it's like the Garganos, cheap and artificial. Mia did the sound effect with the flashlight, and Lee is kind of horrified by it, and it's like, why are you doing that? He does his own version of it, and then they said that they ordered takeout, which is obviously Candice's best meal. Tegan Knox comes, delivers pizza, says she ate a few on the way, says she's going to take a slice for the road, but there's only one slice left. Mia says that they'll make them pay Johnny and Candice for doing what they did. We then get a backstage interview with Drake. He says he wanted to fight the right way, he wanted to fight the fair way, and if there needs to be another match, he'll do it. Kushida comes out and says to Drake to take the title to win. In a show of good sportsmanship, they shake hands. There's no hard feelings there. And Drake says how much he respects Kushida, and he said when he wins, he'll give Kushida the first title shot. And Kushida, gives him the head nod. So I really like this show of sportsmanship there. You don't need the heel face dynamic for this. It's just wrestling, real good old fashioned wrestling with someone with someone that needs to win. I just realized that thing kind of looks like it's coming out of my head, but it's the corner of the wall. Looked like I had like a horn or my hair was sticking up. Okay, so then we get a promo with Imperium. No one is taking their titles. Birch and Lorcan are disgraced for mocking them the week previous. We then get this match. Shotzi Blackheart versus Raquel Gonzalez. So obviously Shotzi coming out on the mini tank. I really like that. Dakota Kai comes out with Raquel. Raquel no sells all of Shotzi's chops to start. Sorry, scratching my foot. Shotzi impressive, moving all over Raquel, kind of just evading and doing all these kind of like counter moves. She does a question mark kick and then a step up enziguri. Dakota starts taking apart the tank. Tegan then comes out, pushes her out, like just absolutely shoves her. Raquel hits a power slam for a 2 count. Shotzi with the wheelbarrow hangs on Raquel on the middle rope, then does a senton. Raquel goes to the outside with Dakota, then Shotzi. She goes for a coffin drop, and it looks like she overshot them, Dakota and Raquel, because she gets clipped, her legs, and she falls back like straight on her head. It looked like she broke her neck. Like I was very, very shocked that she did not break her neck there, because it just didn't look good. It was very dangerous. Under normal circumstances, I think it would have been fine. I think she just overshot it, and I think Raquel didn't expect her to overshoot them. So she kind of clipped Shotzi because she was expecting to catch them, but luckily she was okay. Tegan goes to help. Then Candice comes out, pulls her away. And then while the two of them are arguing, the ref is distracted. Dakota and Raquel attack Shotzi. Raquel with a huge powerbomb, like slam, for the win. We then get a promo telling us that we get a video recap of the feud between Balor and Priest, and we know that it's set for TakeOver in your house. We then get Rhea and Io versus Charlotte and a mystery partner who is teased throughout the week. Obviously, there's another shout out to Hana Kimura by Moro. He's obviously had his own issues with cyberbullying, so he understands it, and he battles depression. So, he makes a plea to, try to warn against it. Obviously, it's not cool, man. It's not cool. There's no need to be like a Twitter tough guy or whatever it is. I mean, I've had my fair share of stupid people like on Xbox Live, because I suck at a game. They tell me that I should kill myself. I'm like, it's Xbox, guys. Relax. Like, I have no problem saying, like, dude, you're not good at a game. Something simple like that. But I don't need to get so vicious and vitriolic with these people because it's not worth it. Who cares? You're never going to see these people. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So we find out Chelsea Green, part of the Robert Stone brand, is the mystery partner. So Green starts out with Rhea. Rhea headbutts Green, fails and then she falls to the corner, and Io tags in. Io stomps Green in the corner. Io misses a 619 out of the ring, and Green hits a suicide dive. Charlotte tags herself in and stomps out Io. Io with the diving plancha out of the ring onto Green. They start to fight on the outside. Green reverse Irish whip to Io into the barricade. Charlotte with a massive chops on Io. Misses one and hits Green. So right there you're already like, uh-oh, here we go. Charlotte and Green are fine. Double team Io behind the ref's back. Io gets the hot tag to Rhea and she cleans house. They do the... what's her name? Rhea hits an electric chair facebuster. Pin is broken up by Charlotte. Charlotte goes for the figure four, but Io gives the double knees. Double knees in the corner on Charlotte. Io with a 619 on Charlotte. Green pushes Charlotte out of the way to eat the springboard dropkick by Io. Charlotte rolls up Io with the feet on the ropes for the win. Io actually ran into Rhea by accident, and that allowed the distraction enough for Charlotte to get the win. So Charlotte and Chelsea Green. Huge win for Chelsea Green, being put in the spotlight with these contenders, and she looked like she fits. She fits in that type of spot. I mean, she's a great wrestler. We've seen her wrestle in WWE, but also we know she was also at All In, and her indie work and her work in Impact was really good. So what you didn't see, which I found out later on Twitter, is that Robert Stone brand. Robert Stone was doing an interview with Chelsea Green saying, only the Robert Stone brand could bring these two together. And Green said, she was so happy about it, but then fired Robert Stone and walked off. Said, you're fired, and walked off. And at first, Robert Stone thought it was a joke, but then he realized, okay, she's walking away. Chased after her. And now, according to what I've seen, it looks like she fired Robert Stone, which I find weird. But maybe this, will have something to do with Aaliyah. Maybe they feel like Robert Stone brand is not good for Chelsea right now, for Chelsea to maybe align herself with Charlotte now. And if she was aligned with Charlotte, she couldn't really have dual loyalties because obviously Charlotte is not going to be part of the Robert Stone brand. She's her own brand. So, not sure. We then see Riddle talking with Angle backstage. They fist bump. And then we get the Zoom call negotiations between Regal and Cole, which I thought was great. Cole's celebration had to be put on ice because of the dream. Regal doesn't want to hear his whining. Undisputed, so he asks him what he wants. Cole says Undisputed Era should get a fair shot at the tag team titles, and Cole wants Dream out of his hair. Regal says he will get a shot at TakeOver, and Cole is mad that Regal even compares the two of them. Regal makes a joke about being a baby, and then Cole says, that's the funniest joke I've heard since I'm a man's man, talking about Regal's old gimmick. So Regal agrees that if Dream loses, that he won't get another title shot as long as Cole is the champion, but Regal will find a suitable place for their match, where the light can shine brightest, apparently because they're two bright shining stars. I assume that means we're going to get some kind of cinematic match, possibly. I really just don't want them to overdo this cinematic matches. I mean, it seems like it's going to be like every pay-per-view now. I'm not sure how I feel about that. And now, Undisputed Era having a fair shot at the tag titles. That'll be interesting because obviously Imperium and Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan are set. I forget where they're set for, if it's going to be next week or at TakeOver. So we get Burch and Lorcan video promo. They go to a pub, talk about how they came together after battling one another. They've been on a roll lately. So they meet at this pub. They needed to call out Imperium, and they toast to each other, to celebrate that they're going to win the titles. We then get Leon Ruff versus Tommaso Ciampa. Leon Ruff was the one who fought Karrion Kross last week and got destroyed. Scarlett shows up at ringside, temporarily distracting Ciampa. Ciampa hits a running knee, does a stare down with Charlotte against Scarlett. Another running knee in the corner, does the fairy tale ending for the win. Another quick victory for for Tommaso Ciampa on Leon Ruff. And as Scarlett walks up the ramp, Kross is on the screen, shows up there. He says he'll make him feel something that he never felt before at TakeOver. So we find out next week the finals of the Cruiserweight tournament are going to take place of Phantasma versus Drake, Mia versus Candice, and then a prime target match, a segment about both the title matches at TakeOver. So that it's going to be called Prime Target. I don't know what that means. We then get a great main event of Matt Riddle versus Timothy Thatcher in the cage. This cage is called the NXT Fight Pit. So it's kind of like the Lion's Den, except instead of round with the walkway on top, it's around the ring, but there's still the square walkway on top, which is pretty cool. So Angle comes out to the "You Suck" chants. We get a video recap of the feud. They get a tail of the tape. So they both start on the top part of the walkway, kind of like the catwalk area. Riddle rolls into a forearm. Riddle uses the cage to get out of a choke. German release suplex. Riddle hits the Broton. Then the Showtime kick off the cage. Thatcher is seen bleeding from his mouth and apparently loses some teeth. They really hammed it up with the blood and teeth. The guy barely has any teeth. But the docs check on him and say if he's good to go, he can go. So Riddle goes for another punch off the cage, but Thatcher counters. Thatcher hits a belly-to-belly into a heel hook, turns it into a single-leg crab. Thatcher with a butterfly suplex. Riddle transitions into a bro mission attempt. Thatcher gets a triangle on Riddle. Riddle deadlifts Thatcher, who goes to the top of the cage, and then Riddle follows him up there. They start striking one another. Thatcher with an ankle lock on the top. Riddle fights out of it. So then Riddle goes for a Broton while they're still on the catwalk. He misses. Thatcher hits a suplex. Riddle hits the final flash knee. Thatcher falls into the ring. Then while he's in the ring and Riddle is on the catwalk area, he does the floating Broton. Then he hits the cage. Riddle hits the cage. Thatcher with a sleeper, but Riddle rams him into the cage. Riddle lands on Thatcher, but Thatcher doesn't break the hold. He then is able to get Riddle's arm kind of hooked by his leg. Riddle passes out. The match goes to Thatcher. Thatcher wins. So Thatcher takes a huge win against Matt Riddle in the first ever NXT Fight Pit, which I hope they keep around. And then we'll find out that this match had a lot of significance to it. Okay, just make sure we're still recording. Yes, we are. All right. And now we are to the final show. We get Smackdown. So it starts out pretty... it's a very polarizing beginning, I'll say that. So we start out that there's been a car accident, outside the Performance Center. Renee Young is there commentating, saying that Elias was hit by a car. He's receiving medical attention in the neck brace and the whole nine. As far as she knows, someone in all black ran out of the car after they hit him. We then shoot to an interview with Braun Strowman. I just got here and I saw what happened and I didn't know. I saw someone running and then I called 911 and it was his best acting. That's how sad it was. So then they say the cops look into the car, pull out a rental agreement, pull out a bottle of Jack Daniels, and they say, is this Jeff Hardy? Who knows who Jeff Hardy is? So apparently Jeff Hardy is the owner of the car. So the cops and officials start running behind one of the trucks. They find Hardy, and he's all out of it in the bushes. They say, hey, you been drinking? He says no. And then the officer is like, oh, he smells like the booze in here, which doesn't make any sense. Like how he would discern one booze to another, but as far as smell goes, I mean, he could just say he smells like booze. You know, that would be sufficient. He doesn't say like what if what he smelled like vodka, and there was Jack Daniels in there. Does that mean that he's innocent? I mean, then the cop says, we got to take him in. We'll do some blood work. They don't do blood work. At police stations, they do field sobriety tests, breathalyzers. That's it. They don't do blood work. So the cops end up arresting Hardy, and they're taking him off to jail. Jamie Noble is there, and welcome back, Jason Jordan. We haven't seen him backstage. I know he's been working backstage, we just haven't seen him on camera. So Jamie Noble is not happy about what's going on. Clean my glasses. Ooh, I can see now. So then we get a cut of Adam Pearce addressing the locker room. If you don't know who Adam Pearce is, he's one of the main guys backstage. You see him all the time. You probably see him all the time. You don't even realize who he is. So we see that Drew Gulak is back in the crowd. And if you didn't know, Drew Gulak had apparently been out of WWE when his contract expired last week. I'm assuming he probably fielded some offers, AEW, Ring of Honor, etc. And probably just enjoyed his time at WWE, wanted to continue what he had with Daniel Bryan. So he's back. He's resigned. So Pierce announces that Hardy's been arrested. Cesaro screams again, and Sheamus says, "What strike is this? How pathetic? He's a pathetic junkie." AJ says him and Bryan should be in the finals. Bryan says they should each find an opponent. AJ's just like, that's so dumb. Why not take the free ride? You're dumb, Daniel. Daniel, you're dumb. So Bryan calls him a coward. Corbin and Sheamus want back in. They suggest a triple threat with Bryan since AJ wants his bye. Jey Uso says he wants in, and so does Dolph. Pierce says there's going to be a battle royal. The winner will face Daniel Bryan later that night, and then the winner of that will face AJ Styles. So Bryan thinks it's a great idea. AJ just calls him an idiot. We then start right away with the Battle Royal. So we got Sheamus, Shinsuke Nakamura, Lince Dorado, Gran Metalik, Drew Gulak, Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler, Chad Gable, and Jey Uso. Cole says the trainees have been tested. Yeah, so this was something that caught my eye. So, they addressed the crowd again, saying that everyone has been tested or they're practicing social distancing, which I find they have to be doing both. It can't be an or. I just find that to be very ridiculous. They either did they not test and whatever, or they tested positive and were doing it? Like, I don't... It makes no sense to me. Okay, so Cesaro presses Dolph, but he can't get him out. Sheamus is yelling at Cole on commentary to watch him. It almost gets eliminated while doing it. Corbin eliminates Lince Dorado with a punch off the top rope. Then Corbin eliminates Gulak, pulling him over the ropes while on the apron. Gran Metalik with the springboard double elbow gets super kicked by Dolph and clotheslined by Corbin out of the ring. Dolph then tries to eliminate Corbin, and then Corbin's like, what the hell? And he's like, oh, sorry, man, just kidding. They shake hands, and then Corbin throws Dolph out. Jey super kicks Corbin over the top rope. Sheamus and Cesaro team up. They get kind of like a bar reunion. Gable with an armbar on the rope on Sheamus, then a tornado DDT. Gable pulls Cesaro over the top rope. Gable does a belly-to-belly suplexes. He belly-to-belly suplexes Nakamura over the top rope as well. Cesaro, while Nakamura is getting all pissed off and the rest are trying to hold him back, Cesaro sneaks back in and eliminates Gable. So he's really pissed off about that. Even though it's technically legal, but, it's bad form. Jey superkicks Sheamus and clotheslines, but Sheamus holds on. He's able to hold on to the ropes. They're battling on the apron. Jey goes for a super kick, Sheamus blocks, throws him into the post with the bro kick, and Jay falls, and then we have our winner, Sheamus. So it'll be Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan in the main event of SmackDown to go after AJ for the interim Intercontinental title. We get Sonya backstage talking trash on Lacey Evans as Lacey Evans comes out behind her, pushes her to the floor. We then get backstage with Chad Gable, and he's arguing with Nakamura and Cesaro. Cesaro says they don't call it the big leagues for a reason. Gable must be lost here. Cesaro says he can walk away now, talking to Gable, or he can fight. Gable hits him over the cheap shot and then accepts, which I thought was pretty funny. We then get Lacey Evans versus Sonya Deville. This feud apparently started over Twitter when they were talking crap about each other. We get shots of the tweets about one another. I mean, whatever, it happens. Some of these feuds, at least they acknowledge the social media aspect of it, which they should do more. So we get the feud. So we get a recap of the mixed tag from the previous week with Mandy and Otis. Lacey is so confident in her abilities, she gets on all fours because she says she was an amateur wrestler, so that they can do that kind of work. Sonya attempts to get an advantage, but Lacey gets the double leg takedown. Sonya punches Lacey, then puts her in her hair up, her whole, put your square up and hair up, or hair up, square up, whatever it is. And then Lacey does the same. We get Lacey says Mandy will always be better than Sonya. Sonya takes that to heart, goes on the attack. Ooh, excuse me. Sonya keeps standing on Lacey's hair. Lacey gator rolls Sonya, then smothers to the outside, then smothers Sonya with the ring apron. Sonya hits a spear on the outside, and the ref counts to 10. There's a double count out. Lacey throws Sonya into the ring, into the corner of the announce table, which actually looked pretty brutal. It looked like she could have broken a rib there. She calls her back. Lacey calls her back into the ring. Sonya then grabs the headset of Michael Cole, says, she'll fight her on her own terms, Blondie, and then walks off. And we then get Do Unto Others, Forgotten Sons. Wow. So finally, we get Blake acknowledging that he did not go into the military, but he appreciates the two that did. They do some kind of salute, saying that they just put themselves over. I wasn't really paying attention to this. We get Bliss and Cross talking to each other, and the New Day sneak up on them, and then they all go like arm in arm. We then get the moment of Bliss. Cross is dancing to New Day's music. It was kind of ridiculous but funny. Big E, as always, is doing something to Corey that Corey is very not happy about. So they call this the Tag Team Champions Summit. Cross has the perfect present for them, Scottish pancakes. Big E brought a perfect gift, or so he thought to them, coffee beans that he pulls out of his ring gear. He then dumps a little water in a cup and then takes a spatula, a wooden spoon, which was also in his tights somewhere, and starts stirring. Clearly they don't understand the idea of how coffee is made. Let's see here. Big E says, Kofi says something, he goes, you could say that again. So he says it again, he goes, no, that's just a saying. Big E asks Bliss and Cross, who they have their eyes on. Bayley and Sasha come out. They start trying to diss the New Day by not shaking their hand, not giving them a hug. Sasha throws her coat at Bliss, which kind of starts it up. Cross congratulates. Cross congratulates her on beating Charlotte. And that is to Bayley. Bliss with some kind of burn on Bayley. It says 5. There are 5 championships in here. Where's yours, Sasha? Bayley challenges Bliss for Sasha, so Sasha's not happy about that. Says she doesn't have her ring gear, and Bayley says, "Don't worry, I'll go get it for you." So then we get Sasha versus Alexa Bliss. Bayley and Cross are on commentary. This was ridiculous. They were hysterical, but they were just being. There we go. That's a little too low. There we go. So then we get Cross is going nuts on commentary, just screaming all kinds of nonsense. Cole is cracking up. You can just... we got a couple of shots of the announce table. He was just cracking up. He loved it. Sasha with double knees in the corner for a 2 count. Corey says He'll let Bailey punch Cole. Cross comes to his defense. A Meteora by Sasha for 2 count. Cole is cracking up. A Meteora and double knee drop by Sasha for a 2 count. Rita goes for Twisted Bliss. Bailey runs into the apron and does the chicken dance, which distracts them enough. Cross confronts and then gets pushed into Bliss in the corner. Sasha floats over for the roll-up win. We get a recap from earlier regarding Elias, and we are hearing that he's in stable condition. We then get Cesaro versus Chad Gable. Gable starts with the rolling kick. Gable with the moonsault for a 2 count. Cesaro takes advantage. Huge gut wrench suplex. Gable goes for another rolling kick. This was very impressive. Cesaro catches him in midair and then does this huge power bomb for a 2 count. We get a huge European uppercut for a 2 count. Cesaro then goes for the neutralizer, but Gable counters with a back body drop. Cesaro goes for a power bomb, but Gable rolls through for the win. So Gable now takes the advantage on Cesaro in this feud. Makes sense. I mean, you don't want to keep burying Gable like that. All right. We then get an Otis and Mandy getaway. So apparently we've been told that they had a chance to get away for a little bit. Otis pulls out some peach champagne. It looks like they have kind of like a fake backdrop. I can't tell. Otis is downs his glass right away, but he wants to go swimming. Mandy says she's been a little tired, so she's just going to go take a nap. He says no problem. We then get the, shwee lady. We get a dream sequence, and it's kind of like the Fast Times at Ridgemont High with Otis. He's like kind of, doing the slow motion, and Mandy is just like just going gaga over it, taking a bite of the peach. Otis deadpan walking, rips his shirt open. It's pretty funny. It's really well done. And then she's watching herself make out with Otis, and apparently getting like all hot and bothered. And then Otis does a cannonball into the pool, which we then get like a huge fake splash onto Mandy. And what I thought, with typical fashion would be like, oh, she'd be pissed off. She realized, what a bumbling idiot he is. She said, no, that's completely okay. That, she had a great dream. Well, goes into the pool and they just start making out again. Otis has his lipstick all over his face and starts doing the, oh yeah, and Mandy saying, oh yeah. So it's pretty funny. We then get Kurt Angle, which I had mentioned earlier, saying, that he and a few others ran SmackDown for all those years. Briefly talks about the Randy Orton and Edge match, but then announces that a new superstar will be joining SmackDown from NXT, and that is someone that he recently got to referee, and that is Matthew Riddle. Matt Riddle is on SmackDown going forward. I'm excited. I'm excited but cautiously optimistic because we know that not all NXT call-ups work. EC3. So hopefully they do him right and don't make him wear shoes or give him some stupid gimmick or give him just squash matches for months. So let's see. We then get Sheamus backstage interview. Interrupts Kayla. Says they're all talking about Hardy for weeks. Now, for Jeff Hardy's return. Now they're talking about Matt Riddle. He's the one who gets results. He's never won the IC title before. Says he'll be the first Ultimate Grand Slam champion. I'm trying to think about what that would mean. I mean, he won Money in the Bank, King of the Ring, Royal Rumble. So I guess, all the gimmick matches and then be like the champion, US champ and all those other champs. But he hasn't been the Universal champ, so I don't know how exactly they're going to explain that. So then Bryan confronts him. Sheamus gets in his face. Bryan laughs, kicks him in the shin, and walks away. We then get a recap of my mouse is, I don't know if the battery, looks like I probably have to get new batteries for it. Let's see, where are we here? We're back at SmackDown. Okay, so yeah. So then we get a recap of Miz and Strowman. You know what, I'll just use this. There we go. So apparently Miz and Morrison will have a quote-unquote warning for Braun Strowman next week. We also get that the women's tag team title match will be next week between Iconics and Bliss and Cross. We then get our main event, which is Daniel Bryan versus Sheamus. So they do mention the renewal of the rivalry, but they don't mention the 18 seconds. If you don't know about the 18 seconds, check it up. Bryan with huge strikes in the corner. Sheamus no sells with a clothesline. Bryan back body drops Sheamus to the outside. Bryan hits a suicide dive. Sheamus with elbows to Bryan's head while he's on the ground. There was a kind of funny thing with the crowd also. There's no differentiating between heels and faces. Everyone was basically a face, but they're not. Like Jessamine Duke and Maria Shafir, they're not faces, but they were cheering for the faces. So it was a little weird kind of drawing there. Let's see here. Yeah, so then Sheamus throws Bryan into the wall by commentary. Sheamus orders Cole to do yes chant, which he doesn't, or he does because he's scared. Sheamus with a top rope clothesline for 2 count. Says he created the yes movement because of the 18 seconds at WrestleMania. So Sheamus beat Daniel Bryan in 18 seconds at WrestleMania, which kind of set up the beginnings of the yes movement. Sheamus says Sheamus with the Irish Curse backbreaker into a Texas Cloverleaf. Bryan is able to get to the top rope. Sheamus goes for the 10 beats of the something, where he just smashes a guy's chest while he's on the outside. Bryan hangs him on the rope. Bryan goes up to the top, and Sheamus gets up there for an attempted suplex. Sheamus is pushed off, and Bryan hits a missile dropkick. Does the yes kicks. The final one is countered, but Sheamus ducks, but it's countered again by Bryan into a crucifix for a 2 count. Sheamus hits his move White Noise. It's kind of like an air raid for a 2 count. Let's see. Bryan does a drop toe hold onto Sheamus, who falls into the buckle. Sheamus calls for the bro kick, but Jeff Hardy comes out on the ramp. Then the music hits. While he's distracted, Bryan hits a knee plus for the win, and then Hardy attacks Sheamus, who runs off. I don't know anything specifically, but it looks like Sheamus was the one who tried to frame him, which I think is pretty ridiculous. That someone would say, "Oh, it's a guy running in all black," but they would have not been able to tell the difference between Sheamus and Ric Flair. It could be a swerve just because we know that they're feuding. So I'm not sure, but overall it was a really good week of shows. Let me just make sure I am still. Yep, still recording. Woo, getting to the hour mark. All right, so what I'm going to do is, as always, do my match of the week. And for the match of the week, I went with Matthew Rydell, his final match in NXT versus Timothy Thatcher. This was just, the look of the ring was great, and I hope it's a staple, but it has to be done the right way. I thought the match itself was great. Having Kurt Angle as the referee was great. The knocking out of the teeth. The fact that Riddle passed out and kind of, I hate when people lose on the way out because I'm like, what's the need? But it does pass the torch to Timothy Thatcher, who then will take the reins of kind of like the bruiser. That's my match of the week. And that is my WWE Week In review. As always, social media here, like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know how I'm doing. If you have any suggestions, by all means, go and do it. At the end, there should be a link also to the AEW Week In review that I just posted yesterday. And as always, stay safe. Bye now. All right, time to use the bathroom. What the hell? You shall not pass. This fucking asshole again with this. I gotta go, Gandalf. Don't have time for your fucking games. Whew, starving. Lunchtime. You shall not pass. How'd you even get in there? I'm fucking hungry. Stop. Oh my god, I love this scene. The fuck just happened?
You shall not pass.
That's it. That's it. You know what? How about this?
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry. Come again? Come again?